Watered down martial arts. What makes a martial art watered down? Someone posted this in one of the Taekwondo groups that I go to on Facebook. So I'm going to read out my comments that I put on there. First, I got to see if I can find them. Because I pretty much said everything I wanted to say there. So let me see if I can find it. Here we go. I'm being sarcastic, but you know there's some truth to this. First of all, watered down martial arts. Anything I don't like or I can't do is watered down. Like how people like to criticize Taekwondo for high kicks or jump kicks, when the truth is a lot of people that really can't do them well. So, in my opinion, that's why they say it's watered down. Anything that's not Chinese or Japanese is watered down. Anything that can be enjoyed by women and children, and anything that can cater to the physically weak, they feel like it's watered down. Because some people think that it's Sparta, and that everything has to be Sparta. Or they're ethnocentric, and they have let the ethnic rivalry between the various Asian nations that Asian martial arts come from, they've allowed that to creep into their training. Now, I can understand if you or your ancestors actually, say, from China, and you think Chinese martial arts are the best. I mean, you're Chinese. But I hear black and white Americans talking and thinking like this, and I think it's ridiculous. Unless one of their ancestors is, Asian. And it's still ridiculous, though, even if ethnocentricity to that extent is ridiculous. You don't hear, like, black Americans talking about how knocking and kicking is better than everything else, or how capoeira is better than everything else, or any of the capoeira-like arts from the African continent are better than everything else. They somehow manage not to let the ethnocentricity creep into that, because they're fetishizing Asian culture and Asian people, that's why. But let me not get too far off topic. Anything that is not indirectly or directly, I should have said directly too, feeding money back to a country outside the U.S. is watered down. Okay, look. At this point in time, we do not need to go to Asia to reach a high level in the martial arts. I'm going to say this again. You do not need to go to Asia to reach the upper echelons of martial arts anymore. Because a lot of the people who are in Asia have moved to other Western countries. And we got a lot of really good people in the United States. I mean, really, it should not be necessary for anybody to have to, not want to, and not that I discourage you from, but it shouldn't really be a need or a necessity for you to go to Asia to continue to learn and train at this point. And I'm going to be generous. I would say until you at least 7th degree. Because a lot of them come here. If there's an Asian master that's willing to teach people who don't live in the country of origin of the art, you may be able to fly them here. If you pay them the money and you pay for their airfare and everything else, and their room and board, and you treat them with the respect they deserve, why wouldn't they come here? There are people that fly over here all the time for judo from Japan. I don't know why people from other countries can't do the same thing. It's called an airplane. Take a boat, take an airplane to come over here. You don't really need to go over there. And with what they're doing in organizations like Kyushu International, and what George Dillman's doing with his stuff, you got a lot of pressure point stuff that you can learn that was considered secret. You can learn that. You don't have to go to Asia. You may have to leave your home state. You don't have to go to Asia. General Choi's ITF Taekwondo, I think it's in Canada now. General Choi moved to Canada. So if you felt like you wanted to reach the ultimate in ITF Taekwondo-ness, why couldn't you go to Canada? Take a plane to Canada. It's ridiculous. And anything that requires any level of flexibility and physical fitness, no matter how little, is considered watered down. Okay, look. I know we're supposed to move beyond technique and not try to be brawlers and muscleheads when we're doing our martial arts. But there's going to have to be some level of physical fitness required, even if it's just the ability to stand up. This stuff is not magic. You have to be able to put your hands on somebody somewhat, and it's going to require some ability for you to have physical competence, just physical ability to move. You don't even have to be able to walk to do a martial art, but you do have to be strong enough to grab someone so you can actually apply the techniques. And if a martial art happens to require more physicality than another one, that doesn't make it watered down. That just makes it more physical. And if it requires more physicality than another one, maybe that's something that's better for fighting the opponents, called obesity, heart disease, stress. So it's not watered down because you feel like you have to build muscle in order to do it or compete in it. So basically, you know how I feel about when people say stuff is watered down. Anything they don't like or that's not them or from their instructor, they think is watered down. So just keep that in mind when somebody says something is watered down. Now, you want to know the things that I think are watered down to me? What's watered down? The only thing I would call watered down is not an art, not any particular style. It's anybody who didn't take the time to get certified with permission to teach before they started teaching is teaching something that's watered down. And I could be saying that out of my own biases. So keep that in mind. Peace.